Test 1 2. Gonna sit here and make sure that this thing is working. Looks like we're starting. And let's see if we're gonna get a good stream tonight. Not really a lot to sit here and say, except sit here and probably get into the criticisms that I was going into yesterday. Let's see, today we'll be changing that. It's Wednesday, April 27th. I'm going to change that. Alright, go ahead and change my basic info. Sit here and talk about what's going on. Criticisms of Stipulator. Let's see, the criticisms of Stipulator. I'll have to go and find the YouTube page. Sorry, I'm not always prepared. I sit here and kind of go by, fuck it, we'll do it live. Stipulator. Let's see if I can find him on YouTube. And kind of have to get into his criticisms. Let's see, the Paris is Burning video. I actually saw that recently. Now, I did subscribe to him, and I know that he's an anarchist, but I'm gonna go to put in the info bar the submedia.tv version, because that's exactly what I need to sit here and talk about tonight. One of the problems that I have with anarchists and why I have that problem. Now, y'all probably won't get too much out of this. I don't know. I'm trying to find the doggone thing. Let's see. Stimulator is the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. Where are the daggone how to paint? I'm not looking. I'm not interested. Here we go. Click to watch. Paris is burning. Riots in France. And make no mistake, when you sit here and look at Paris is burning, let's see, boom, that should be showing up soon. Boom. And anarchism, that should be going up into the basic info. Now, the reason that I have a lot of criticisms of submedia.tv or anarchists in general is mainly has to do with what they are talking about. And this kind of goes back into what I was talking about last night in terms of anarchism. From the looks of it, there's a lot to be said in regards to, say, what is the point of anarchism except to create and destroy the state? I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how exactly do I want to say it. Let's see. Howdy, Space Ghosts. Not sure if anybody's watching, but oh well. I'll go ahead and sit here and shoot the shit. Go ahead, put in the shooting the shit again. Let me go ahead and type in Lefty Pole shooting the shit again. Shooting the shit again every night. About this time, I'm putting up a string. Here's the webpage. Here's my channel. Blank. Let's see. Shooting the shit again every night. About this time, I'm putting up a stream. Here's my channel. Bada boom, bada bing. Let's see. Put that on Lefty Pole so Bunker Bants and whoever else is sitting here looking at it, they can sit here and take care of it. Before I get into the criticisms of anarchism. Hopefully people are actually paying attention, but if not, oh well. I'll just sit here and do a quick rant and be done with it for today. Let me find my channel. Let's see. Dang it, I can't find the doggone button. Why do they make this so difficult sometimes? Ah, here we go. String. Boom. Alright. Put that right here. And let's see. Damn captcha. Let's see if that. Hey, now we can post on Lefty Pole. Alright, that should take care of that. If anybody wants to pay attention, they can pay attention. If they don't, they don't. So, the thing that I'm going to sit here and talk about tonight is actually going to be the criticism of Stipulator. Now, I really did go and subscribe to him. I do think that sitting here and looking into anarchism is something that's important and good. At least for me, it's going to be one of those things that I sit here and pay attention to. Not only am I going to sit here and pay attention to the right wing, but I also have to sit here and pay attention to various left wing parties. Now, in terms of Stipulator, what they did was they talked about the anarchist critique of democracy, Crime Think's full 10-part series. Now, that's not something that I actually looked into. I mainly am going to be going off of the video instead. And one of the things that struck out to me was the fact that Crime Think, at least with regard to B. Traven, they claim that anarchists have a lot against democracy or authoritarianism because it's constantly taken over by the state. I'm not too sure if I actually agree with the process or agree that they want to sit here and just take down institutions. And the really big thing in my mind is, what are you going to do to sit here and replace it? That's one of the biggest things that probably comes on with this. Comrade Yui is talking about who is Stipulator. I put in the underbar where you can go. They have submedia.tv, and he also has a YouTube channel, but basically they're talking about anarchist news and resistance updates. What's going on in France? I was told by Comrade Horse, who I'm just gonna sit here and call Comrade Horse, even though there's nobody else. He has a different name. My main point, or basically look at him to see where the anarchists are going. And I looked at a few of their videos and saw the anarchist viewpoint. Now, I don't think anything is wrong with having that anarchist viewpoint. What it basically said was that, the police are antagonized anarchists and everybody, and that's one of the things that are going, happening on the street. They're basically making their own media and using Bitcoin and everything else to try to sit here and basically go and smash the state. One of the things that Stipulator did in some of his videos was that he was talking about what are the types of alternative villages that they're kind of setting up. They're occupying vacant buildings and repurposing them, retooling them for other things. My thing was, in regards to this Crime Think, they say they want to sit here and smash the institutions, but one of the biggest things that really came out to me was, okay, what are you going to put in its place? Such as, for example, the judicial system. How do you sit here and create a democracy? What they believe is a democracy is authoritarianism. And I have to kind of scratch my head. How in the hell do you think that democracy is authoritarian unless you're talking about a judge and you don't believe in, an innate democracy and say a jury or anything else? One of the things that this basically shows is they have a lot to learn in terms of class struggle. And this was one of the criticisms, like Karl Marx was talking about, especially with what he had in regards to Proudhon. Proudhon, from what I read, as I said before, he was very, very much a he was very zealous, and he didn't like the Jacobins in his time. So when I read one thing of Proudhon, or was that, no, Bakunin, I'm sorry, not Proudhon, Bakunin, that's who I read. When I read Bakunin, he just sounded like a minister instead of actually somebody who you really sit here and pay attention to. That was the problem that I had with him. And I just never got a good vibe from Bakunin, any way, any shape, any form. So that's why, personally, I'm not an anarchist. I kind of take more towards the scientific socialism theories and views. I'm probably not the only one, but in regards to, say, Stipulator, I saw that there was some validity to their statements, some validity to, say, a direct democracy, and trying to sit here and get a lot of people to try and look into violent and non-violent ways of protesting. Not a bad thing, and that's exactly something that I really would ask people to look far more into. But for those that are basically anarchists themselves, and if your only thing is to fight, say, the state, I'm not sure if that's exactly what you really want to look into. Now, Comrade Yui is talking about scientific socialism is still a thing. That's pretty much what Marxism is. You know, the dialectics, the historical dialectical materialism. Those are the ways of sitting here looking at ideas and breaking them down. And that's exactly what scientific socialism is about. I know there's like utopian socialism, but that's not really something that I personally follow. Master Tegan is saying Kropotkin was a bit more articulate, honestly. Bakunin is a bit outdated by today's standards. And that might be true. I've not read anything by Kropotkin. I'll probably be doing that sometime soon. But I'm just haven't done it right now. So forgive me. I'm a little bit behind on my theories and all of my people I'm supposed to be looking into. Like, for example, I just learned that Adam Smith had this entire book outside of Wealth of Nations. He had this book called The Theory of Moral Sentiments that nobody's really read, and that's something that a lot of people could probably look into. Now, basically, to try to sum this up, if you read The Theory of Moral Sentiments of Adam Smith, the fact of the matter is, he said that capitalism could survive if it didn't lose its soul. And if you've looked around at capitalism since 2008, it lost a lot more than that. It can't sit here and survive for the mass of people. The mass of people are basically moving towards socialism in a very quick manner, and they're basically polarizing against liberalism if you look at the United States as a model. That's probably another thing that I could go into Stipulator about. The very fact of the matter is, Stipulator is kind of sitting here talking about, well, we don't want to sit here and get involved in the political process because we think the whole thing is rigged. They might be correct, but again, one of the biggest criticisms that I have of the anarchists right now is that they don't really have a freaking alternative that actually works. I mean, if I listen to and look into Roxanne Dunbar Ortiz, who has been talking about different forms of anarchism in the Native American countries, we can see kind of why anarchists didn't really get big in the United States. They were all destroyed in this model right here. If you look into Gerald Horne, that's another person that I've been looking into recently, and the slave revolts, well, we've had a lot of people sitting here and basically trying to fight capitalism in some way, shape, or form. If you read Gerald Horne, you get the black narrative. If you read Roxanne Dunbar Ortiz, you get the indigenous narrative. What happened to America versus the white, I guess you could say, the white identity crisis that we have in America, where we basically idolize the founding fathers, but we don't really look into what in the hell they were actually doing as slave owners, talking about liberty or death, when the people that they put to death the most were the slaves that they owned. I mean, it's ridiculous. But that's another story for another time. To try to get this back on topic, getting back into, say, Bakunin and everything, and as well as that, some of the criticisms that I have of Stipulator and Anarchism, when I saw him and they were talking about, say, voting and everything else, okay, it's a rigged system. I think a lot of people are actually waking up to the fact that this is a rigged system, and we have a lot of people in America right now that are going through a left-wing movement. This is probably one of the first few times that we've had at least a little bit of a left-wing movement. This kind of gets back into our history of just decimating socialism everywhere that we can, so that there's no alternative except the capitalist system that basically works for the rich but leaves everyone else out to dry. That's kind of one of the reasons that I'm so critical of identity politics. It's not just used by social justice warriors, which is, the liberal fundamentalist crowd, but you also see these identity politics come up with who is the best and who is the worst in the right wing. The right wing uses their own form of identity politics. That's something that Donald Trump has been basically preaching and doing himself. Now, what Bernie Sanders is kind of doing as an alternative, he's focusing more on class issues and showing that he has a stronger and more populist message over the identity politics of not only Clinton but also Donald Trump. If you look and see how they're sitting here and behaving, he's keeping on to the issues and exposing Hillary Clinton as a very, very weak candidate. But in terms of what's happening in the general election, they're trying to sit here and pivot to this Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton type thing, but they're both, say, corporate Democrat or corporate whatever. They basically represent the corporate party, but they don't really sit here and represent the mass of people like Bernie Sanders is doing. Especially because of the fact that if you look at it, the Democrats represent what, 25%, 30% of the vote. There's 45% of the people that are independent. They're sitting here willing to go and vote for Bernie Sanders, and then that is being undermined by voter suppression, vote rigging, XYZ. For the most part, I mean, I could probably get more into that, but trying to get back into the topic, if you look at Kropotkin or Stipulator, he's not really talking about, say, we should vote for Trump. It's like, my problem is, what are you going to do as an alternative to voting? What are you going to do to sit here and make sure that this mass of people that you collect into this direct democracy type organism, what are you going to do so they can sit here and express themselves and create the community that they want to do? I really haven't seen that quite yet. Now, to be fair and honest to them, on the submedia.tv webpage that I actually looked into, there's a 10-part series that's called The Anarchist Critique of Democracy. And I'm really going to have to look into that. I just haven't been able to do that in the last day. And for the most part, I'll be looking at that and probably critiquing it either this week or next week. And they're talking about there's an incomplete syllabus for the entire series, and the first one is The Party's Over. It's a text. I'm going to be reading it, and I'm going to be trying to look into it just as a critique and a criticism of this form of anarchism and see what in the world is going on with Crime Think. Now, I do think it's interesting and engaging to look at different ideas. So if anybody else has any ideas that they want me to see, please feel free to put them in the comments and I'll sit here and look into them. Or if you want to sit here and email me, then go ahead and do that as well. But for the most part, Let's see. Trying to see if anybody else is actually wanting to engage or ask questions. I mean, we had a good night yesterday, so hopefully more people are actually paying attention. I'm not sure. So let's see. Let's see who's here. Well, looks like it's just me for the time being. Oh well. Well, for the most part, I guess that's what I was sitting here and doing. Basically giving my criticisms and critiques. So, doesn't look like a lot of people are here right now. Oh well. Bit more articulate, honestly. Yep. Okay, I answered those questions, but looks like it's just a slow night. Nobody's really paying attention. I guess I'll see you all next time. Do do do.